Hello everyone. We'll be solving this question paper, okay? CSRE 2022 examination. So I have the question paper on my left side and the right side have been kept blank so that we can solve in case if there are any numerical questions, okay? So let's come directly to the first question, okay? So it says here, an example of resource conserving technology. Now, when it comes to resource conserving technology, these are primarily dealing with the concept of agriculture, okay? So it comes within the broader topic of agriculture. Now, so when we talk about this resource conserving technology, it deals with various type of methods or actions that we can undertake in order to minimize the wastage of resources, okay, in agriculture. So here, or in order to protect the environment. So these are the various steps that we take under the resource conserving technology, okay? Now, let's go into the option. The four options that have been given are the rice wheat consortium, forestry in the hilly areas, zero tillage, and none of this. So here, the correct option will be zero tillage, okay? So zero tillage is considered to be one of the activities or action that we can undertake under the resource consuming technology. Why? Because see, when it comes to tillage, what happens is that we till the soil, right? In normal circumstances, we till the soil so that the soil becomes loose, right? This allows for aeration of the soil, right? So this is what happens in a normal tillage, okay? And after that only, we sow the seed or we sow the plant. But when we talk about zero tillage, no tilling takes place, okay? We don't till the soil, okay? All the plant is directly, planted in the soil, okay? And then one advantage of this zero tillage is what happens is that it helps to prevent the issue of erosion, okay? So what happens is that we are all aware of the fact that if the soil is loose during the tillage and if there's rain or if there's heavy wind, then the erosion of the soil takes place. So in order to avoid that, zero tillage is considered to be a step, and that is why zero tillage is considered to be a part of the resource conserving technology, okay? Let's come to question number 2. Choose the following options. Choose from the following options the synonym of the given word, okay? So here the word given is reticence, and we have to choose the synonyms. Synonym means same meaning, right? So in exam time, kindly be careful on this. Antonym kolido, it will be opposite meaning, but when it comes to synonym, it will be same meaning, okay? Now, the correct option for this will be, for anyone who is quite aware of the word reticence, the correct option is reserve, okay? Question number 3, in which of the following years was the circuit bench of Guwahati High Court at Kohima inaugurated? So this, here again, it's a direct historical question. So it's in the year 1973, okay? What is acidification and nitrate leaching? Now, again, this is a topic that deals with the issue of soil, okay? Now, when we talk about acidification, it means the acidification of the soil, okay? So when the pH is less than 7, okay? When the pH is less than 7, when the pH of the soil is less than 7, this is known as acidification, okay? And acidification of the soil takes place when the, acid rain comes on or due to various types of chemical inputs that we put into the soil, okay? So this is one of the reasons where our acidification of the soil takes place. And the second topic that is being discussed here is nitrate leaching, okay? Now, as we are all aware of the fact that nitrogen is present in the air, right? Nitrogen is present. And this is through nitrogen's fixation by various microorganisms, nitrogen enters into the soil, right? And apart from this, sometimes we use different types of nitrogen fertilizers, right? Like say, for example, urea. So when excess urea is applied into the soil, the nitrogen content in the soil increases, okay? So sometimes it so happens that the nitrogen that is present in the soil will seep through the soil, okay? Instead of just remaining at the upper portion of the soil, it seeps down into the soil and then it enters the groundwater, okay? So this is what is known as the nitrate leaching, okay? So the correct option in this case will be number B, okay? Second option, a process of chemical seepage into the soil, okay? Let's come to question number 5. Determine the local time of India when the time at Greenwich is 12 noon. Now, as we are all aware of the fact that when we talk about the Earth, we divide it into a number of horizontal and vertical lines, right? So the horizontal lines are the latitudes and the vertical lines are the longitude, okay? Now let's just consider focus on longitude. So the reference point for longitude, which starts at 0 degree, this is considered as the Greenwich, okay? So this passes through Greenwich in London, okay? So this is considered as 0 degree, okay? Now India is located somewhere here, right? If this is somewhere in London, India is located somewhere here. So if you're quite aware of the fact that, and so for in London, the longitude reference point is 0 degree. But in India, the longitude we take is 82 degree, 30 minutes, okay? So this is the Indian Standard Time, okay? So Indian Standard Time is measured with the help of the 82 degree, 30 east, okay? From east, it is on the eastern part of the the zero meridian, right? So that is why it is regarded as 82 degree, 30 east, okay? Now, you also have to remember the fact that every 1 hour on the clock, it will be equal to 15 degree change in longitude, okay? So every hour in the clock will be equal to 15 degree change in the longitude, okay? Now, if you take into calculate this, then you will realize that it is 5 hour 30 minutes, okay? So the difference between the Greenwich Mean Time and the Indian Standard Time is 5 hour 30 minutes, okay? Because every hour carries 15 degree, okay? Now, because it is lying on the eastern part, right? So eastern part, the sun will come up first. So by the time here it is noon, right? The question given is at noon, 12 noon. So by the time we take the reference, by the time that the time is 12 noon in the Greenwich, it will already be afternoon in the India, right? So that is why when it is 12 noon at Greenwich, it will be 5:30 p.m. in India. Okay, so the correct option is C. Now let's come to question number 6. Okay, who wrote the Amar Sonar Bangla to inspire the liberation struggle? So we are all aware of the fact that it is written by Rabindranath Tagore, right? So correct option is Rabindranath Tagore. So apart from this, he also wrote the Jana Gana Mana, right? So when it comes to option number C, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, he wrote the Vande Mataram, okay? The national song, right? So the correct option is D. Now let's come to question number 7, okay? A group of gases, okay? So all these given elements are gases. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon belongs to. Now, if you go back to chemistry, a little bit of elementary chemistry, you will know that all the elements that exist on this world is divided into 18 groups, right? So and these are arranged in a periodic table, something like this. Okay, all these elements are classified into, now it will start like group 1, group 2, group 3, all the way to group 18, okay, and group 17. So this is how the elements are arranged in the periodic table. So whatever cases has been given here, these are all known as noble cases, okay? So, and it belongs to group 18 in the last group, okay? Group 18. So all elements in the last group, okay? This is known as the noble cases. So all the cases noble cases, okay? And this includes the helium, okay? Helium, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. Okay, these are the elements. Now, these are known as noble cases because they are quite inert, okay? Inert in the sense that they do not react easily with other chemical compounds. That is why when you find in nature, they will exist as itself only, okay? They do not exist in compound form. They will generally exist in this as it is, okay? So they are known as noble cases, okay? So the correct option is noble cases, okay? Now let's look at halogen, okay? So group 17 are known as halogens, okay? So these include things like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, okay? So these are together known as the halogen. Why are these known as halogen, Goleto? Halo means salt, okay? So they combine with other elements to give salts, okay? For example, chlorine, okay? Chlorine from group 17 will react with sodium to give sodium chloride, right? Which is also the common salt that we take, right? So that's the halogen. Now group 1 are known as alkali metals, okay? Group 1 elements are known as alkali metals. And these include things like lithium, sodium, potassium, okay? And group 1 elements, okay? Group 1 elements, why are they known as alkali? Group 1 elements will react with water, okay? It will react with water to form what is known as the alkalis, okay? Because they form alkalis, they are known as the alkali metals, okay? Group 1. And alkalis are nothing but strong bases only. And group 2 elements are known as the alkaline metals, okay? Alkaline metals or alkaline earth metals, okay? And why they are known as alkaline? Because their oxides and hydroxides are alkaline in nature, okay? So this is why they are known as the alkaline metals, okay? So these are the 4 groups that they have given in the option, okay? So helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon belongs to the noble cases. Now let's come to the next question. Which part of the brain is responsible for different functions such as movement, touch, vision, hearing, and thought? So as we all aware that brain is divided into different parts, right? We find the cerebrum, we have the cerebellum, we have the brainstem, we have the thalamus, we have the cortex, right? So these are the different types of brains. Apart from this, there are smaller other components also. So when it deals with different functions like movement, touch, vision, and hearing, actually, this is performed by cerebrum, okay? This is supposed to be the correct answer, but cerebrum is not an option given in the four, in the 4 options. So I'm not sure what the board went with the answers, okay? So, but actually, all this responsibility of movement, touch, vision, hearing, and thought is actually being performed by the cerebrum, okay? Let's come to question number 9. The British political officer killed in the Connemara War in 1879 was, now this is a direct question and we are quite aware that it's Damat, right? So if you see the history question, then it is quite direct, okay? There isn't much to think about. If you know, you can just mark it directly, okay? Question number 10, which of these characteristics will disqualify an individual from contesting an election? Now here it says election, okay? So when we say just election, they're generally referring to the general election, okay? So general election can be of 2 types, right? Which enters to the Lok Sabha and to the Assembly, right? So these are the 2 types of general election. Again, there's another type of election, which is the election to the Panchayati Raj and the election to the urban local bodies, okay? So let's see here the question is disqualify, okay? Not qualify, it's disqualify. 25 years or more of age. So this is a correct option because someone has to be at least 25 years, right? Minimum is the 25 years to contest an election to the General Assembly or the Lok Sabha, right? Second option is no criminal background. So this is also a correct option because if you have a criminal background, you will be disqualified, okay? Now, third option is unsound mind. So this is the correct option because if you have an unsound mind, it is a point for disqualification for you to contest an election, okay? So the correct option is C. Question number 11. As per the power rule established in late 1700s in Bengal, which of these is not true? Okay, now, if you go back into the modern history, you will see that there are different types of revenue system that the British has developed in different parts of India, right? We have what is known as the most famous among them is the zamindari system. We have the Rayodwari system, and we have what is known as the Mahalwari system, right? So all these were implemented in different parts of India, okay? Now here, 4 options has been given, and we have to choose the one which is not true, okay? So the first option is zamindars were responsible for paying revenue to the company. So this is very true, right? The tenants did not pay the revenue directly to the government or to the British, but it was the zamindars who were paying the revenue to the company, and this was fixed by the company itself, right? The second option is village riot paid rent to the zamindar. This is also true, as I mentioned earlier. Jotedars gave out loans to other riots and sold their produce. So what do you mean by jotedar? Jotedars were actually rich peasants, okay? Rich peasants in Bengal, okay? And what they did was they gave out loans to the other tenants or sharecroppers, and as well as they sold the produce, okay? So this is also a correct option. And the fourth statement is riots distributing the revenue demand over the village. So this is not the correct option, okay? Because this was done by the zamindars, right? So again, you have to be very careful here, okay? Here, the fourth option is wrong, right? The fourth statement is wrong, which means the fourth statement is D, but it's option A, okay? So option A is the wrong one. Whose removal is initiated by the process of impeachment for a violation of Constitution? Now, if you have read the polity properly, you will be quite aware of the fact that the phrase violation of Constitution and impeachment is only used for President of India, okay? And you can find this in the Article 61, okay? So the correct option is 61. The correct option is option number B, okay? Now let's come to question number 13, okay? All the states have a uniform 3-tier Panchayati Raj structure. Which among the following does not belong to Panchayati Raj? Now, if you look at the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, it provides for the establishment of the Panchayati Raj institution, right? So this takes place in 3-tier level, right? At the district level, at the block level, and at the village level, right? So at the district level, it is known as the Zilla Parishad, right? At the block level, it is known as the Mantal or the block Mantal, right? Or the block, okay? And in the village is known as the village Panchayat, right? So out of the 4 options, Mantal is also there, Gram Panchayat is there, Zilla Parishad is there. So it does not belong, which does not belong is the Nagar Palika, okay? In fact, Nagar Palika is as per the provisions of the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, okay? It is a type of urban local body, which is often set up for a small city or a big town, okay? Now, let's come to question number 14. It says here, so here there is a statement given here, okay? And a part of the statement has been underlined and bold. Now, we have to check whether that part of the sentence is grammatically correct, okay? If it is correct, then no correction is required, right? But if it is incorrect, then we have to substitute with the proper use of the verb, okay? Now here, if you look at the 4 option, we see that the correct option would be we would rather go, right? Because the word to go doesn't make sense, right? Because yeah, it does not make any sense. So the correct statement option would be we would rather go on Monday, right? Now let's come to question number 15, okay? Now here they have given a statement, a sentence, okay? And the sentence has been divided into 3 parts, first, second, and third parts. And we have to choose if there is a error in any part of this sentence, okay? And if there's no error, then we'll go for option number D. So you can use the phone to receive call. Now you can use the phone. It's there's no error in this, right? But here to receive call, here the verb has been used in the plural form, which is incorrect, right? It's improper. So the second part of the sentence is wrong. So second part is option number D, right? Number 16, which of the countries lie partly in Asia and partly in European continent? So this is factual only. It's Turkey, right? In the given question, a sentence has been split into 4 parts. These 4 parts have been, now here they have given a sentence and the sentence has been split into different parts, okay? And the statement starts with he forgot to, right? He forgot to, and then the remaining part has been jumbled. So we have to just arrange it in such a way that a sentence gives the meaning, okay? The required meaning. So if you just do a trial and error method, you will see that he forgot to give the teacher, right, his homework when he came late to class, right? So the correct option will be SQPR, which is for D. Question number 18. In which of the following year did the British invaded the Naga region for the first time? So here again, this is a very factual thing. Nothing much to think about or analyze. Is the year 1832, right? Which of the following is arranged as per the timeline of major period in the early Indian archaeology? Now, if you look back at the ancient India or the archaeology, early Indian period, you will see that till up to the 10,000 BCE, we regarded the Paleolithic age, right? So which is also known as the Old Stone Age, right? Between 10,000 BC to 6,000 BCE, we give the what is known as the Mesolithic age. Then starting from 6,000 BCE, we give the Neolithic age, okay? Or the New Stone Age. And at around 3000 BCE starts the Chalcolithic structure age, okay? Now, Chalcolithic age is also known as the Copper Stone Age, right? And the so-called Indus Valley civilization belongs during this period, okay? After this, around 1500 BCE, starts the Iron Age, okay? And the Vedic Age is a part of the Iron Age, right? So if you see this arrangement, it should be Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, and Harappan, right? So the correct option is number B, okay? Now let's come to question number 20. Now here, a statement is being given and we have to see India belongs to which of the following regional or the global economic group here, okay? Now let's see the different option. As we're all aware that European Union ditto, we have only the European nations, right? So this is not the correct option. ASEAN consists only of the Southeast Asian countries, right? Southeast Asian countries. So it's a 10-member organization. So this is also wrong. In G7 is also wrong because it consists of the 7 most developed countries in the world, right? Like countries like UK, US, France, Canada. So this is also not the correct option. So the correct option is G20, okay? Which of the following, question number 21, which of the following is not connected at all with the purpose of Mahatma Gandhi's Dandi March? Now, we all know what happened during that Dandi March, right? Gandhi traveled and then he picked handful of salt, right? And this was a violation of the law, okay? So the second option is correct. He disregard the provisions of the salt law, right? And if we disobey any laws that has been set by the government, that is a part of the civil disobedience, okay? So the word civil disobedience means to disobey certain laws, okay? Now, the option A is correct, right? It's a part of the Dandi March. Option B is also correct. It is a part of the Dandi March. Third option, to garner countrywide mass participation for Purna Swaraj. So this is also a correct option because we are all aware of the fact that once Gandhi started this, then South Satyagraha, it took place even in other freedom fighters took place in similar action in different parts of the country, right? So the one which is not connected is number D, okay, to boycott foreign clothes. So this is primarily related with Swadeshi movement, okay? Question number 22. According to Kippen's scheme of classification of climate, humid conditions are characterized by which of the following? Okay, now it's a very technical topic here. We have the Kippen's scheme of classification of climate, right? Different climatic conditions were classified by him. Now, but if you look at the option, it's always easy to find a clue to read, okay? Now we all know humid here, we have to see things related to humid condition, right? Now, when we say humid condition, tropical area is naturally a part of the humid condition, right? So A should always be there, right? Now, second characteristics is triclimate. Now, triclimate is opposite of humid condition, right? When we say humid condition, the humidity is high. The water vapor or the water level content in the atmosphere is high. But when we say triclimate, it means that the moisture content is low. So it is opposite of humid. So B cannot be the proper option, right? B. And if we see that C is the only possibility where A is present and B is not present, right? So the correct option is C, okay? Under the Indian Constitution, which one of these is not classified as an emergency provision? So in different parts of the Indian Constitution, we talk about the emergency provision, right? The most famous amount of is the Article 352, which deals with what is known as the national emergency, right? So it is when it is declared during the time of war and external aggression, right? Second type of what is known as the Article under 356, it's a precedent rule, right? And it happens when there is a failure of constitutional machinery in a state, right? Third type is what is known as the financial emergency. So it's given under Article 316. So the only one which is not classified as an emergency is communal emergency. Okay, and you remember that when it comes to communal issue in India, it is generally dealt as part. It is only dealt by the government or the law enforcement agency as a part of the law and order situation. So there's no such thing as a communal emergency. Now let's come to question number 24. Now it is a grammatical question. It's similar to the one we did earlier, right? Here, one sentence is given. It says, we could might drive to France. And here, a part of the sentence that is could might drive has been underlined and bold. Okay, now we have to correct it. Now, in a sentence, we can use both could and might at the same time, right? That's not how it should be, either one or the other. So we'll just see, do a trial and error method and see that the option A is correct, okay? So if we use the option A, it would be, we could drive to France, right? So when it comes to grammatical and these things, you can just do a trial and error method, right? You just see if the sentence makes sense, right? Now let's come to question number 25. What is archipelago? Now, in geography, archipelago is quite a common term, okay? So it just means a number of islands which are closely located to each other, right? When a number of islands are closely related to each other, that is known as the archipelago, okay? So the correct option is option number B. Now we have different types of archipelago. If you look at the Lakshadweep Island, it is a type of archipelago, right? Apart from this, we have the Hawaiian Islands, we have the Malay archipelago. So when we see a number of islands that are located quite close to each other, they together form the archipelago, okay? Now let's look at the other option also, okay? A piece of land jutting out of the sea. So when we say a piece of land jutting out of the sea, this is known as the peninsula, right? Now if you look at the Indian map, the middle portion and the southern part protrudes out of into the sea, right? So this is why India is not also regarded as a peninsula, right? And a big geographical unit which stands out distinctly from the rest of the continent. So this is known as subcontinent, okay? Now, if you look at the South Asian culture, right? We have India, we have Pakistan, right? So it is India, Pakistan, maybe parts of Afghanistan, Nepal is here. Then Bhutan is here, Bangladesh is here. If you look together, we have a distinct geographical, we have a distinct geography with a distinct culture, tradition, right? So that is why we have a very similar, right? Which is quite different from the rest of the Asia. So that is why this is often described. In the Indian subcontinent is often described as a type of subcontinent, okay? So a big geographical unit which stands out distinctly from the rest of the continent is often regarded as the subcontinent, okay? Now let's come to question number 26. For horticulture and floriculture, which of these is not a focus area? Now, when you say horticulture, it simply means the cultivation of plants, right? Or fruits, or flowers, ornamental plants, vegetables. All these things together constitute the horticulture. Now, horticulture in itself is divided into three more sections, okay? We have the floriculture, where we cultivate the flowers and the ornamental plants, right? We have the olericulture, where we cultivate the vegetables, right? And thirdly, we have the pomology, where we cultivate the fruits, right? So when we say here, the floriculture itself is a part of the horticulture. Okay, here is that question is for horticulture and floriculture, which of these is not a focus area? So if you look at the four option, the one which is not in the focus area is aquaculture. Okay, because aquaculture though it deals with the cultivation of fishes, right? So it has nothing to do with horticulture and floriculture. Okay, it's a part of the animal husbandry group, right? Now, beekeeping is considered as apiculture, right? Now you might be wondering why beekeeping is not uh, the one which the correct option, but you have to remember that all those things like cultivating fruits, cultivating vegetables, or even floriculture, uh, the most important thing is pollination should take place, right? Only after the pollination takes place, fruits will be formed, seeds will be formed, right? So without pollinators, pollination cannot take place. And because of this, beekeeping or bee rearing is always considered a part of and the entire uh, you know spectrum of the horticultural cultivation. Okay, so beekeeping is also a appropriate option. So the one which is not in the focus area is aquaculture. Question number 27. Nagaland shares its international border with which of the following countries? So it's D. Okay, Myanmar. Question number 28. In 1853, from where did the British build the Indian railway system to run its first train? So we are all aware that the first railway was from Bombay to Thane, right? So you just remember that it was during the time of Lord Dalhousie, okay? So this was built during the time of Lord Dalhousie. So he is also known as the father of Indian Railways, okay? Because the starting of the railway as well as the major role was being played during the time of Lord Dalhousie. That is why he is regarded as the father of Indian Railway. Now let's come to question number 29. Choose the correctly spelled among the following options. So if we know the spelling of this four word, you will see that only scientific has been properly spelled out. Okay, so that's the correct option. Question number 30. Choose the appropriate preposition from the following option to meaningfully complete the given sentence. So four preposition has been given and we have to just fill in to make this sentence meaningful. Okay, a young girl came up to me and asked. The correct option is for. Okay. Who among the following, question number 31, who among the following was popularly known as Napoleon of ancient India? Now, if you are quite aware of it, then you know that it's Samudragupta, right? Because he is known for his military campaigns, okay? Military campaigns. Because of his military campaigns, he is often regarded as the Napoleon of ancient India, okay? And how do we know his military campaigns good? It was because of the inscriptions in the Allahabad pillar, okay? Allahabad pillar. And these inscriptions were made by Harisena. Okay, so Harisena was the court poet of Samudragupta. Question number 32. Which of the following is true about the national income of a country? GDP, GNP, and TP are all national income. So this is not a correct option, okay? Because in India, national income is measured by net national product, okay? So this is not a correct option. National income is the purest form of income of a nation. So this is the correct option. While calculating national income, the issue related to cost and price also need to be decided. So this is also correct. Okay, so always when we're discussing about the concept of national income, the concept of cost and the concept of price always comes into play, right? The fourth statement is India calculates its national income at constant price. So this is also correct. Okay, so the correct option is C. Now let's come to question number 33. The content of which of the four Vedas is connected with the knowledge of the melodies for chanting? Now, we all know the Vedas is divided into four Vedas, right? So there's the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. And different Vedas deals with different things, right? And out of these four Vedas, Sama Veda is the one which deals with music, okay? And in fact, it has been written in such a way that there is some melody or tone to it also. So no, the correct option is Sama Veda, okay? And the knowledge of the Indian melodies. And given the root of Indian classical music, Even the root of Indian classical music can be found in the Samaveda. Okay. Now let's come to question number 34. The president appoints all the major heads of institutions of the government, which includes. So here they have given 4 types of people or institution. Okay. So the correct option is D. Okay. So it's the government, it's the president of India who appoints the governors of the state, the election commissioners, the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, the Chief Justice of India, as well as the ambassador of other countries. So, but you have to remember here is that when we say the word appoints, it is only an officiating or formal process only. Okay, the president in himself do not have any discretion. Okay, like president of the US have a number of discretion that he can do, right? Because the executive has a lot of power, but in India, the president always enjoys a ceremonial or a formal position only, and most of these are actually chosen by different people or different group of people. Okay, like for example, the ambassadors are chosen by actually by the Minister of External Affairs. Okay, although the appointment is made by the president, the formal appointment, but the one who is chosen is being done by the ambassador. The Chief Justice, it goes by the senior most concept, right? Judges of the Supreme Court follows the collegium system. Governors of a state is generally done by the Prime Minister or the cabinet, right? And the election commissioner, there's a committee, right? Consisting of the Prime Minister, leader of opposition, and the one cabinet minister, right? So the actual selection is done by this group of people, but the formal appointment is done by the president. Okay, so you kindly clear yourself with this concept. Now, question number 35. Which among the following was the capital of Magadha, one of the greatest of all the kingdoms? So this is a direct question. It's Patliputra, which is the old name for Patna. Okay, but you also remember that before Patliputra, the capital was Rajgriha. Okay. Now let's come to question number 36. Radiocarbon dating relies on the measurement of radioactive decay of. So radiocarbon dating actually deals with the to determine the age of different things, right? And for this, we need a radioactive element, okay? And that radioactive element's carbon-14, okay? Carbon-14. So we can't use carbon-12 because it is not a radioactive element. So in order to do that, we need a radioactive element, which is carbon-14, okay? And the transition takes place from carbon-14 to nitrogen-14, okay? There's no such thing as a carbon-13. So the correct option is option number B. Question number 37. Choose the correct word from the following options to meaningfully complete the given sentence. So here's the sentence, and we just have to fill with the word. Some people believe in life after death, right? Because there's a sequential thing, right? After life comes the death. So, or then people believe that there is a life after that death, right? So there's some sequential here. So the word we should use is after, okay? Choose from the given option the appropriate continuation of the given phrase. I didn't go to work because, so it should be I was not feeling very well, right? So when it comes to this type of grammatical things, you can do the trial and error method, okay? Just try and error method and see whether it makes sense. Because here, we can't use a plural verb, right? Because I is always considered as singular. So it should be I was not feeling well. And the correct option is D. Question number 39. Choose from the following the option that correctly substitute the given words. A person who eats human flesh is, we are all aware that it is cannibal, right? So let's see the other option. Atheist ko liye to, an atheist is a person who denies the existence of God, right? Devotee. So any person who is dedicated in the pursuit of anything, maybe religious or scientific, that is regarded as devotee. And polyglot ko liye to, a person who knows so many languages, okay? So the correct option is B. Question number 40. So it says here the study of coins. So directly the study of coins is what? Numismatic, right? When we try to study the coins, that is known as the numismatic. So correct option is B, okay? Epigraphy, it deals with inscriptions, okay? Now, if you see historical object, like different types of artifacts, right? Or the different types of inscriptions that are made into the walls or the pillars of the monuments, there are different types of inscriptions written on it, engraved on it. So if you try to study those encryptions, then that is known as epigraphy, okay? And archaeology is just the study of the ancient buildings, tools, and any other things which have been remained from the past, okay? Question number 41. Choose the option from the following that cannot be constructed from the letters of the given word. Now, there is a word, a long word, kaleidoscope, and we just have to choose, and 4 option has been given, and we just have to choose one which cannot be constructed out of it. Now, if you look at option number B, their legacy has the word Y. The alphabet Y is absent in kaleidoscope. So the correct option is B, right? Now let's go to question number 42. Which among the following is true as per the provisions of the Indian Independence Act after August 15, 1957? So here we all know that after 15 August 1947, Lord Mountbatten became the Governor General of India, right? And M.A. Jinnah became the Governor General of Pakistan. Question number 43. Complete the given sentence using the appropriate option. There is an increasing dash for cars which are more economical. Now here you can also substitute trial and error method you can do. So the correct option is demand, right? Question number 44. Choose from the following given options the appropriate meaning of the idiom used in the sentence. The country's economy is beginning to look up now. Now we have to just look at the meaning of the word look up, okay? So when we say that the country's economy is beginning to look up now, it simply means that the country's economy is improving, right? Which means to become better, right? Question number 45. Complete the analogy using the appropriate following given option. Now, honesty and integrity are almost synonymous, right? So fantasy would be imagination, right? Because truth, fact, and real are synonymous. So the correct option is imagination. Question number 46. I remember that night you dashed that dress were red dress. So out of these 4 options, if you see, it will be you were wearing red dress, right? Now you also have to remember one thing, okay? When it comes to grammatical structuring of a sentence, you is always considered as a plural, okay? So even if you is being in reference to a singular person, it is considered as plural, okay? That is why we always use plural, okay? Along with that, right? We never say how is you, right? We always say how are you, even if you are referring to to a single person also. So when it comes to the word you, the verb should come as the verb that follows you should always be plural, okay? Now, question number 47. Surface mulching is an example of which among the following? Now, when we grow plants into the field, right, then we add either by rain or by irrigation, we feed water into the soil and the plants, and the soil gets wet, right? Now, because of the sun, again, a lot of the water that we have applied actually is gone away because in the form of evaporation, right? So in a way, it is a loss for irrigation or more moisture that is given, that is provided to the soil, right? Now, in order to avoid this, what the farmers or agriculturalists do is they cover the top layer of the soil with something. Okay, sometimes it may be a plastic film also, or sometimes it may be dead leaves, and other organic matter. Okay, so the idea is to prevent the moisture to lose, right? So that water is conserved. Okay, so this is known as the mulching. Okay, this process is known as mulching. So the correct option should be mechanical and agronomic soil and water conservation. Okay, even this is not a very not an incorrect option also, because that is also in a way we are conserving the water, right? So it's a resource conserving technology, but primarily the more specific thing is, although it is also a resource conserving technology because water is also a resource, but here the word water conservation has directly been given, so we'll go with that. Okay, question number 48. Which of the following Constitution Amendment Acts provided for the reservation of the seat for the scheduled tribe of Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram? So this is a direct question. So it is 57 Constitutional Amendment Act, okay? It was passed in the year 1987, right? So what is fiscal deficit? Now, fiscal deficit, as we're all aware, that is when the government is unable to meet its government expenditure is unable our government revenues are unable to meet its expenditure, right? So expenditure is more and then government earning is less, right? So it is a situation when the government's income and tax receipt fail to recover its expenditure. So that's the correct option, okay? So in simple word, it simply means that the government is spending more than it's earning, right? So if you look at the other option, a sustained rise in the general price, this is known as inflation, right? And option number 2, a fall in the exchange rate, which reduces the value of a currency in terms of other country. This is devaluation, okay? So this is, so option C is the amount of money government borrows to overcome revenue deficit is called. So in a way, this is also not a incorrect statement, but it is only how to deal with fiscal deficit, right? Because government is, the income is lesser than expenditure, so the government has to borrow the money, right? So, but the proper definition of fiscal deficit will be option number A, okay? Let's go to option question number 50. Ashish said, I went to Delhi yesterday. Now we have to change it from direct to indirect speech, right? No, it will be Ashish said will become Ashish said only, right? So all of this is correct. So this is wrong. It says Ashish said. So this is also wrong. It cannot be told, right? So I will become he, right? That he. Verb is when, right? Simple past. So we have to change into past perfect. He had gone, right, to Delhi. Yesterday will become the previous day or the day before, right? So the correct option is C, okay? Question number 51. Complete the analogy using the appropriate following given option. Specific is precise, right? Almost synonymous. So clean should be wash, right? Question number 52. Which of the following joint connects hip and shoulder with the rest of the body? So it is ball and socket joint, okay? For those who are aware of it, you will know directly that it is ball and socket joint because it enables us to move our hands and our legs more, freely in different direction, right? Now, when we talk about hinge joint, it is found in the parts of the body like the elbow, right? Knee, ankles, and fingers, okay? Pivot joint is found in neck, forearm, okay? And saddle joint is found in the thumb. Now, let's come to question number 53. Choose the correct meaning of the word strange. So if you look at it, the correct option is D, right? Strange means a bit unusual, right? Question number 54. Which factors contribute to soil erosion? So soil erosion means when the top layer of the soil is washed away or carried away from one place to another, right? And there are a number of reasons that is actually responsible for the process of soil erosion, right? And this includes things like human activities like construction, right? Overgrazing by animal. When the animal overgrazes excessively, soil becomes loose and it is washed away by water, rain and water, right? So rain and wind is the primary cause. So the correct option is D, okay? Question number 55. Among the following, who was the first American Baptist missionary to India? So it's a direct question. Option A, right? So now, here a sentence has been given that is divided into 3 parts, okay? First part is let him knock. Second is on all the doors. Third is until he find ours. And fourth one is there's no error. No, and we have to find that part of the sentence where there is error. Okay, now let's look at the first part. Let him knock. So this is correct, right? On all the doors. This is also correct, right? Until he find ours. Now see, this is singular, right? Third person. Now, when we say singular third person, the verb has to come in plural form, right? Now, it should actually be let him knock on all the doors until he finds ours, right? So here the error lies, right? It should be plural. Find should be plural. So the correct option is 3. 3 should be option A, right? Question number 57. Which of the following is the lowest place on Earth? So this is a general knowledge question, direct question. It is the Dead Sea, okay? So it is around 1,400 feet below the sea level. Question number 58. Which of these measures will have a negative impact on environment? Now we have to see here 4 actions have been given and we have to see which has a negative impact. Now, water harvesting through tank does not have any negative impact on environment, right? In fact, when we conserve water, that water can be used for addressing environmental issues, like if there is desertification or if there is excessive dry period. So that can be used to address environmental issues. So this cannot be the negative impact. Resource conserving technology. Again, when we have a resource conservation technology, it has a positive impact on the environment, right? Watershed management system. Again, this is also a positive impact on the environment, because when we have a watershed management system, we're addressing how the water should be managed, right? But if you look at the first option, it is tillage. So this is the correct option because it has a negative impact on the environment. Like I've mentioned earlier, when there is tillage done, the soil gets loose and it gets easily washed away by the you know erosion takes place easily. Apart from this, it also impacts the microbial organism present in the soil, as well as if the soil is tilled so much, soil moisture also loses. The soil also loses its moisture very quickly. Okay, so the correct option is tillage. Now let's come to question number 59. Which of the following is true about the Swadeshi movement? Now, Swadeshi movement took place around 1905, right? And it was a direct response to the uh, partition of the Bengal. So it started against the partition of the Bengal. So this is the correct option. During this period, there was the word Swadeshi means indigenous, right? So there was a demand or a call for the use of indigenous products instead of foreign products, right? So there was a boycott of foreign goods, as well as there was the boycott of government services. So all the options are correct, okay? Which of the following is greenhouse gases? Now, we all know that greenhouse gases are a group of gases that is responsible for warming the earth, right? So we all know carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, right? Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Oxygen is not a greenhouse gas, as we are all aware. So oxygen is out. Now again, carbon monoxide is also not a greenhouse gas, okay? Although carbon monoxide is harmful, but in itself is not a harmful for our health, but it's not a greenhouse gas. So the correct option is B, okay? It includes water vapor, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. Question number 61 is direct. Which of the following Naga tribes celebrates the Chokom festival? So it's celebrated by the Kimnyangan tribe, right? Question number 62. Which type of land is used to produce crops? Now, when we talk about the land pattern, it generally divides into different categories, right? So cultivated land is the one which is used to produce the crop, right? Because it is cultivated. When we say fallow land, it simply means that the land is not used for cultivation, right? It may be for 1 year, 2 year, 5 period, depending upon the type of soil. And grazing land, it's a land where the animals are kept for grazing, right? Generally like grasslands, it is included. Question number 63. Which among the following has become to serve as the language of India? So here, Nagaland, sorry. So the correct option is English. As we are all aware that because of different tribal languages, the common language that has come to serve the lingua franca in Nagaland is the English language, right? Question number 64. Which of the following ancient international port is not correctly measured aligned to its respective cost? Now, here they have given 4 types of port, okay, taken from the ancient India. So the first one is Barikaza. So Barikaza is another name for Bharuch, okay, in the modern day Bharuch. So it is located in Gujarat. We all know Bharuch is located in Gujarat. Second option is Muziris. Again, Muziris is also located in Kerala, okay. Third is Arika Metu. It is Coromandel coast. See, this is also correct because it's located on the eastern coast, not very far off from Pondicherry, right? However, the fourth option is Tamralipti, okay. So Tamralipti, it is located in West Bengal, okay. It's not located in Indus Valley. So it's located in the West Bengal and it opens up into the Bay of Bengal. So the correct option is Tamralipti because it is not correctly aligned, okay. Now, question number 65. Which of the following is an example of invertebrate animal? So if you look at the animal kingdom, it is generally divided into 2 categories. There's the vertebrates and there's the invertebrates, right? Vertebrates and invertebrates. So vertebrates are the one which has the backbone, okay? Backbone. Invertebrate is the one which is without backbone, okay? Fish has backbone, snake and lizard have backbone, and frogs also have backbone. So earthworms and leeches is the correct option because it is an invertebrate animal. Question number 66. Kulutsen is a traditional Naga dance associated with which of the following Naga tribe? It is a direct question. It belongs to the Yimkyung tribe. Question number 67. Select the appropriate option to change the voice of a sentence. Now we have to change the voice only. Here the statement that or sentence that has been given is they drew a circle in the morning, right? Now the object is a circle, right? So it will come at the beginning of the sentence, a circle, right? So it's already in the past tense. So it should be drew become was drawn, right? By whom? By them in the morning, right? So the correct option is B, okay? 68. Now here also we have a sentence, okay? The sentence says, I've got a busy day tomorrow, so I think I'll hit the sack. Now a part of the sentence has actually been underlined and bold, okay? And kept in bold. Now we have to choose the one which elucidates the meaning of the word or the idiom, hit the sack, okay? So the correct option is go to sleep, okay? So when we say, I've got a busy day tomorrow, so I think I'll hit the sack, it simply means that because he has a very busy day tomorrow, he will go to bed early, right? So that is, so when we say hit the sack, it means go to sleep, okay? Question number 69. Select the appropriate option that correctly represents the changed voice of a given sentence. The boy laughed at the beggar, right? Now, the object is the beggar, right? So it should come at the beginning of the sentence, the beggar. All right, the verb is laughed, right? So it should be was laughed, right? So ed is there, ed, here ed is missing, so this is wrong by the boy, right? So the correct option is D, okay? Question number 70. How is Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn position with respect to equator? Now, if you look at an Earth or a globe, equator passes through the center, right? Now, Tropic of Cancer are located at the top and the bottom, right? So these are different types of latitudes only, okay? So we know that they run parallel to each other, right? So both Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn are parallel to each other, right? But they are perpendicular to the longitude, okay? They are perpendicular to the longitude, but the three of them are parallel to each other. Let's come to question number 71. Uluru refers to, so this is a factual question only. So when we say Uluru, it is a massive block of sandstone stands almost at the middle of the Australia, right? So you also remember that this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, okay? Option number B, the world's largest coral reef is the Great Barrier Reef, right? And this is also located in the Australia. So option B is Great Barrier Reef, okay? Question number 72. Choose from the following the option that correctly substitute the given words or sentence. A person who lives alone and avoids other people. So if you know the word recluse refers to a person who lives alone and avoids other people, okay? Now, if you look at the other option, optimist is someone who thinks positively, right? Or whose outlook on the perspective towards life is positive. So that is an optimist. When we say gourmet, it simply means someone who knows a lot of things about food, okay? Who has a lot of knowledge about food. That is a gourmet. And when we say a cartographer, it simply means a person who makes maps, okay? Now let's come to question number 73. In which of the following district of Nagaland is the TCP craft village located? So this is located in Dimapur, okay? It's a factual question. Now let's come to question number 74. Again, there's a grammar. Choose the incorrect indirect speech of the given sentence from the following. He said to me, do you know English? Now, if you look at it, this is a type of question, okay? So he said to me will become, he asked me whether I know will become verb, past tense, right? Whether I knew English. The correct option is C. Question number 75. Choose from the following option the antonym, that is antonym ko liye to opposite in meaning, okay? So in exam time, always be careful of this antonym, synonym. of the given word. Severe kolito. The opposite of severe is mild, right? Because stern, harsh, and grievous are synonymous. So opposite of severe is mild. Now there's a comprehension section, right? Now here there's a comprehension section given. It talks about the work culture in India, okay? It says what needs to be said right is our approach to work. It is a common sight in our country of employees reporting for duty on time and at the same time doing little work. If any assessment is made of time they spend in gossiping, drinking tea, eating pan, and smoking cigarettes, it would be shocking to know that the time devoted to actual work is negligible. The problem is that standard which the leadership in administration sets for itself. For the staff, forget the ministers because they mix politics and administration. What do top bureaucrats do? What do the below down officials do? The administrative or the administration setup remains weak mainly because the employees do not have the right example to follow and they are more concerned about being in the good books of the bosses than doing work. So let's come to the question. Which of the following given option does not imply the meaning of the idiom in good books used in a passage? So here, the good books, the phrase itself is taken from this, right? It says that the employees are more concerned about being in the good books of the bosses, which means they are more concerned about the approval of the bosses, or they are more concerned about pleasing their bosses instead of actually doing their work, right? So to be in somebody's favor, good opinion is correct. It's a correct meaning. So we have to see the one which does not imply, okay? To have done something that has pleased someone is also correct meaning, and to be in someone's favor is also correct meaning. So the in good books does not imply to annoy someone, right? The opposite of the word negligible is, so it should be significant, right? So negligible kulito, which is not important, right? Which can be ignored, that is regarded as negligible. So opposite of it will be significant. Significant kulito, which is important, right? According to the writer, what do we need to set right? So in the first sentence itself, it says that what needs to be set right is our approach to work, right? So it is approach to work. 79. The employees in our country. Now here, if you look at the second sentence again, it says that it is a common sight in our country of employees reporting for duty on time, which means that the employees are uh, punctual, right? And at the same time doing little work, but they don't have work ethics, right? The employees are punctual, but they do not have work ethics, okay? So the employees in our country are quite punctual, but are not duty conscious, right? Question number 80. The word assessment means, so when we say assess something, we simply means to evaluate something, right? Why does the administration setup remains weak? So if you read the passage book carefully, it says that administrative setup remains weak because there is no proper examples to follow, right? Employees do not have proper examples to follow. So the correct option is C. And are more concerned about being in the good books of their bosses than doing the right work. Now let's come to the next passage. Okay, it says talks about the issue of environmental degradation and the concept of sustainable development. Okay, it says that environmental degradation has become a common concern for humankind over the past few decades. The distinctive nature of the present environmental problem is that they are caused more by anthropogenic than natural phenomenon. Mindless consumerism and economic growth have started to demonstrate pernicious effect on Mother Nature. In spite of this, the pace and desire for economic development have never ceased. It is economics that has dictated environmental policy. Emphasis has been placed on the role of science and technology as a catalyst for integrating ecology with economics. In this process, sustainable development became the buzzword. This concluding chapter delves into the philosophy behind the concept of green/clean development. Okay. Now here, the first question is, what does the word cease in the sentence? In spite of this, the pace and desire for economic development has never ceased. So when we say cease, it simply means to come to an end, right? It's a literal meaning. So the correct option is B. From the above following option, which one is the opposite of the word pernicious given in the passage? So when we say the word pernicious, we all mean that it is harmful, right? So the opposite is benign, right? But Sometimes in Soho happens that you may not be aware of the word pernicious, but if you look at the option, words like detrimental, adverse, deleterious, right? These are almost synonymous, right? Almost have the similar meaning or similar concept. So in such a case, the one which is different should be the correct answer, okay? Now let's come to question number 85. According to the given passage, which of the following is or are causing harmful effect on the environment? So it's directly from the passage itself that says that mindless consumerism and economic growth have had a most negative impact on Mother Nature, right? 86. What has become a buzzword in the process of integrating ecology with economics? So it is C, right? It's given in the passage, last second line, sustainable development. So when we say sustainable development, it simply means we will combine the philosophy of ecology, okay? And then we'll combine it with the principle of economics. So when we combine the uh, philosophy of ecology with the principles of economics, then that is known as sustainable development, okay? Question number 87. What does the author mean by the phrase caused more by anthropogenic than natural phenomena? So it simply means that most of the negative impact on environment is caused by human activities than natural phenomenon, right? So the correct option should be number A. The distinctive nature of present environmental problem is caused more by environmental pollution and pollutants originating through human activity than natural phenomenon, right? Question number 88. According to the given passage, what has the economics emphasized on, which affected the sustainable development and nature? Now, if you look through the statement, you will see that emphasis has been placed on the role of science and technology, right? So, economics has emphasized on the role of science and technology. Okay, so it's a direct question only. Which part of the speech is the word anthropogenic used in a passage? Now, let's look at the sentence, okay? So if you look it here, the statement anthropogenic, we have to see the word anthropogenic, okay? In which part of speech it is used. It says here that the distinctive nature of the present environmental problem is that they are caused more by anthropogenic than natural phenomena. So the word phenomena is a noun, right? So this word now phenomenon is qualified by two words. Okay. So anthropogenic and natural are qualifying the word phenomena or qualifying the noun. So these things becomes the adjective. Okay. So the correct option should be adjective. Now let's come to next passage. Okay. Here it talks about the behavior of male and female lions. Okay. It says that male lions are rather reticent about expending the energy in hunting, which means they are a bit hesitant to use the energy for hunting. More than 3/4 of kills are made by lioness are in front, densely scanning heads. The cubs lag playfully behind and males bring up their rear. Walking slowly, their massive head nodding with each step as if they were bored with the whole matter. But slothfulness may have its survival value. With lioness busy hunting, the male function as guards for the cubs, protecting them particularly from hyena. Okay, so it talks about the different ways in which the male and the female behaves in nature. Okay, the male and female lion. So the first question is, what does the word reticent use in the passage mean? So when we say reticent, it means hesitant, right? So it should be restrained, right? 91. For whom the attribute slothfulness is used in a passage. So here the word slothfulness it's here, but slothfulness may have their survival value. So it is used to describe the male lions, right? So it should be lions, okay? 92. Who do male lions protect their cubs from while lioness are busy hunting? So they're protecting them particularly from the hyenas, right? So the correct option is hyenas. Why do male lions do not go for hunting generally? So it says here that they're a bit hesitant to spend, right? Why? Because they're going to use it for other things, right? Male lions do not spend their energy, a lot of their energy on hunting. Why? Because they want to use it for protecting the cub, the baby lions from the hyenas, okay, from the predators. Now let's come to the last passage. Here it talks about the person named Cyril and his personality, okay? Until the end of his first year at school, Cyril retained many of the pleasures and pursuits he had brought with him from home, and he kept an all interest in butterflies and fossils. His grandmother had presented him with a fine bird eggs cabinet, but he could never bring himself to risk in climbing trees. Once or twice he dissected dead birds from sheer determination to overcome his horror of the operation. Probably it was his envy of those physically unlike himself that brought on a phase during which he drew massive athletes with thick necks and square shoulders. Again, he was pitying himself for what he could never be. Here the first question is, why did Cyril make drawings of athletes? Here it says that probably it was his envy of those physically unlike himself that brought. So it means that he was jealous of those people as well as those people were not like him, right? Which means he was not physically fit. So the correct option is, though he admired them, he lacked a fine physique for himself, right? 95. Why did Cyril's grandmother present him with? What did he present him with? A fine bird's egg cabinet, right? The correct option is B. 96. What is the opposite of the word pursue? So when we pursue means we are following something, right? We are uh, when we say pursuing our dreams, which means we are following our dreams, we're going after our dreams, right? So we are chasing it, we are tracking those things, we are stalking, right? But the word is opposite, so it is retreat means to go back, right? 97. Until the end of the first year, Cyril retained his interest in, but here it says directly, interest in butterflies and fossils, right? So correct option is butterflies and fossils. 98. From the following option, which one is not similar to the meaning of the word determination used in a passage? Now here 4 words have been given, and we have to search the one which is not similar to the meaning determination, okay? So the correct option is pusillanimity, okay? So the option D is the correct option. So when we say pusillanimity, it simply means it's a lack of courage, okay? But if you look at the other 3 options also, you will see that these are synonymous: resolution, willpower, tenacity. These are quite synonymous to each other. So the one which is different is pusillanimity, okay? Question number 99. According to the passage, why did Cyril dissect dead birds? Here it says that to overcome his horror of the operation, okay? So correct option should be C, to overcome his horror of operation. And last is question number 100. Which part of the speech is the word share used in a passage? Now, let's look at that particular sentence, okay? Why he dissected dead birds from sheer determination. Now, determination is a noun, okay? Like earlier, it's a noun. Now, the word share is qualifying the word determination, right? So anything that is qualifying the noun is the adjective, okay? So the correct option should be adjective. So these are the 100 questions that have been asked, okay, in the CSRE examination 2022.